This is going to be fun. We are going to include rookies in these rankings. Now, of course, it is way too early. Okay, so these are subject to change. We are going to spend the entire offseason diving into these rookies in depth, diving into this entire class. So please take this with a grain of salt. I'm going to do my best to appropriately create these dynasty rankings, but full transparency, it is very difficult. If you are playing for this season, if you are a team that is contending, that needs to be pushing in to win now, maybe you prefer Saquon Barkley over Jahmyr Gibbs, if that's going to be the case. So, of course, make sure that you go through, make the adjustments for the Dynasty League that you're in, and understand that value for you is going to be a little bit different than value for someone else. And that's what makes Dynasty special. That's what makes Dynasty Fantasy Football the best format on the planet. Right before we get into this, go down there, drop a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you play Dynasty. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them down there in the comment section. If you want to check out any of these player props, you can find them on Underdog Fantasy. And when you sign up with promo code FLOCK, they're going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100, and you can get in a draft with us. But I think that should be it. Let's go through. Let's dive into these RBs. First tier is going to be 4 guys. And they're all very, very close. You can rank them in any order you want. We will go Jonathan Taylor at 1. Now with Jonathan Taylor, he's still incredibly young. He was drafted in 2020, but only was in college for 3 years, declared early out of Wisconsin, and he was drafted at 21 years old. So with Taylor, still on the rookie contract. Yes, he dealt with the high ankle sprain earlier this season, which made a lot of people view Jonathan Taylor in my opinion, the incorrect light. I think people got way too low on JT, because if we take 10 steps back, right, and we just try to remember the player Jonathan Taylor is, this is someone that was an elite high school recruit, goes to college every season, has 2,000 total yards, gets to the NFL, dominates immediately, is the running back 1 his second season. And then year 3, when his offense collapses, when his head coach is fired, when he has a high ankle sprain, and he has a month of bad performances, you're ready to give up on the guy? I mean, if we're breaking ties, I'm going to go with JT, because he's checked the box every part of the process. He's still very young. He's still a player that we don't have to be worried about descending anytime soon. But of course, the offense is very bad. But the offense is going to be very bad for a lot of these tier 1 guys, including Kenneth Walker at 2. Now with Kenneth Walker, I will be the first person to admit, while he was my second most drafted player in redraft, only behind Josh Jacobs, in Dynasty Fantasy Football, I was drafting the wide receivers in front of him. I'm embarrassed to admit it. I looked at Kenneth Walker, thought he wasn't going to catch passes in the NFL, thought the Seattle Seahawks weren't going to be great. He's still had a crap ton of upside. Like I said, my second most drafted running back in redraft. I mean, hell, there he was being drafted way too late. But in Dynasty, I was wanting to go Drake London. I was wanting to go Garrett Wilson. I was wanting to go Breece Hall. I was wanting to go Treylon Burks over Kenneth Walker. So I apologize if you followed my rankings and you ended up making a massive mistake and drafted Garrett Wilson over the man. That is on me. I am very sorry. I'm going to try to do better next time. But if we sit here and reevaluate what we've had with Kenneth Walker so far this season, since he's taken over as the starting running back for the Seattle Seahawks, 21 carries, 23, 18, 26. But all those games were wins. We had yet to see the Kenneth Walker usage in a loss where, the main red flag was he wasn't going to catch the ball. But we got that loss in Germany, where the man goes out and only has 10 rush attempts. But what you love to see, and what makes me more excited for Kenneth Walker than I previously was, is the fact that he has 8 targets, is the fact that he is heavily involved as a pass catcher. Now with the Seattle Seahawks, their own first round pick isn't really going to be that high this year. The Seattle Seahawks have been very good, looking like they're possibly going to win the division, but big but on this one, they have Denver's first. I don't know if you've been watching football this year, but if you have, you've probably noticed Russell Wilson's bad. The Denver Broncos are bad. So with all this additional draft capital that the Seattle Seahawks have, with the fact that, they're not pressed against the cap as we see with some other organizations, I wouldn't be too surprised if Seattle's actually able to turn things around relatively soon. I mean, I think you can make an argument from like an organizational standpoint. Seattle's probably in the best spot out of all these teams in this tier. But now going to 3, I am very biased. I'm going to have to let you know this the entire offseason. I graduated from the University of Texas. Hook 'em horns. Bijan Robinson sliding in here. I want to put him at 1. I really want to put him at 1, but until we get the combine numbers, which may not be great, we're going to be a little conservative and have him at 3. Robinson has been unbelievable this season. Everybody was already viewing him as the elite level player coming into his junior year, and then he comes out this season. He has games with 183, 209, 243 rushing yards. The man has over 1,400 rushing yards so far this year. The man has over 300 receiving yards. He has the size to be a bell cow player. He has special balance and vision, and he has the passing down ability to play on third downs. Now, he's not going to be a super fast running back, and for this reason, I don't think we are going to see him go with the 4th pick overall, 5th pick overall, 6th pick overall. And also, of course, because the NFL is trending in the direction of not wanting to take these running backs early, I do think that he ends up falling to the late first of this year's NFL draft. But I wouldn't be surprised if he is the first running back to get drafted inside the top 15 picks. God knows how long. Is Saquon Barkley the last guy we saw that draft capital with? Obviously, Barkley was on another level. But going to the last running back in this tier, we will have Travis Etienne. I mean, y'all know I've been a Travis Etienne fanboy for the longest time. I thought I made a massive mistake telling everybody to take Travis Etienne over George Kittle in rookie drafts. I mean, looked like it was a short-term mistake, long-term W. Now with Etienne, I have to be honest though. I mean, if we're looking at the situation that he is in compared to these other running backs, he's old. I know it seems like this is his rookie year, right? But he stayed all 4 years in Clemson, then missed his rookie season. So he's actually the same age as Jonathan Taylor. It's crazy to say that. And I know for this reason, I mean, a lot of people just view him as the younger ascending asset, and they want to go through and move him ahead of someone like Jonathan Taylor. But if they're right there in age, I'm going to give the tiebreak over in the direction of Taylor. Kenneth Walker, much younger than Etienne. Bijan Robinson, obviously younger. So we will put Etienne at 4, but a true special player. And now dropping down to our next tier at 5, we are going to have Breece Hall. Now, this is going back to what we were discussing earlier. I mean, if you're a team that's rebuilding, yeah, you can be very excited about taking Breece Hall here. But if you're a team that needs points right this second, it's not like you're going to be super excited to go trade Saquon Barkley for Hall. But I mean, he checked every single box coming into the NFL draft. I mean, we had him ranked as a top 5 running back before he was drafted. Very similar to what we have with Bijan Robinson here. Very similar to what we were about to have with another rookie running back. He has the size, the speed, the passing down ability. I mean, oh my gosh. He was right there with literally Austin Eckler at one point in targets so far this season as the top 2 backs. Of course, the injury derails it. I mean, I have personally learned my lesson on trying to buy into a running back that we think has talent that's coming off a torn ACL. I mean, we got burned in redraft on J.K. Dobbins this year, so I'm going to try my best to not get overly optimistic with Breece Hall. I think we need to take that lesson and make some small adjustments. So for that reason, he can't be a tier 1 running back. And now going over to our other running back in this tier, you cannot watch an Alabama game this season without the commentators comparing Jahmyr Gibbs to Alvin Kamara. You literally can't watch the game without them going, oh, this Jahmyr Gibbs back. He reminds you of Alvin Kamara. He has to remind you of Alvin Kamara. I don't know if he's a spitting image of Kamara or it's just that they are feeding these guys little cue cards and what they're supposed to say on TV. I don't know. Regardless, he's a phenomenal passing down running back. He is very similarly to Bijan Robinson, in my opinion, going to be going late round 1, early round 2 of this year's NFL draft because we know NFL teams, while yeah, they don't really value running backs anymore, what they do value is a running back that's going to be able to catch the ball. We know how important that is for these new offenses. Jahmyr Gibbs, I think, is going to be able to do just that. If you're playing in a non-PPR format, he'll probably be a little bit less exciting. But of course, these rankings are for PPR. But now going down to our next tag, we're going to go DeAndre Swift at 7. With Swift, it is very, very difficult to rank him. I view him similarly to Travis Etienne. Like, I honestly think they're kind of the same player. I don't know if we're just having some recency bias come in and making us move DeAndre Swift down to tier 3. But I don't want him if I'm a contending team, right? If I'm a contending team, I probably want Saquon Barkley over him. If I'm a rebuilding team, hell, just let me hit the reset button with Jahmyr Gibbs, who looks like a younger version of DeAndre Swift. So let me know what y'all think of this Swift ranking. I don't know if we can call this season a wash just because the multitude of injuries that he's had, or if we should even be maybe moving him down further than this. And then we're going to go Saquon Barkley at 8. I mean, with Barkley, obviously, as the talent profile, obviously, if you're playing in a redraft league, you'd have a much higher than this. But he was drafted in 2018. Coming to the end of this contract, I mean, this is someone that's probably going to be in New York for a very long time. It is what it is with Barkley. If you're a contending team, you want him over DeAndre Swift. You want him over Jahmyr Gibbs. You want him over Breece Hall. And that's what makes Dynasty Fantasy Football so special, is that you can find that other owner in your league that maybe has Saquon Barkley, but the rest of the roster isn't there. And you can go through and you can say, hey, I'm a piece away. Let me send you Breece Hall. You can have him for the long term. Give me the Saquon Barkley points right now. Even if he's a descending asset, he's worth taking a shot on. Now, dropping down to our next tier, we're going to go Christian McCaffrey at 9. So CMC was actually drafted way back in 2017. But Christian McCaffrey must have been drafted into the NFL when he was 14 years old, because the man is still incredibly young. I mean, I understand, yes, this is a situation where we need to be expecting a running back age cliff to hit very soon. But I would say that Christian McCaffrey is a running back that maybe worries me a little bit less about that age cliff. It looks like in San Francisco, they're deciding to use him a little bit more as a running back by committee, which hopefully is going to be able to keep him healthy. And if they can keep him healthy, that's great for us. On top of this, he can, in my opinion, transition later on in his career better than someone like a Derrick Henry, where Derrick Henry, he needs the elite athleticism. He needs the capability to be able to handle 20 plus touches every single week. That's what makes Derrick Henry great. CMC doesn't need that. CMC can maybe lose a step. He doesn't need to see 20 touches a game. If they want to use him just as that strictly passing down running back, if they want to just go out there and get him 80, 90 receptions in a season, he could still be valuable for your fantasy team. And we're going to have Nick Chubb here at 10. Nick Chubb drafted in 2018, but stayed all 4 years in Georgia due to the devastating injury he had in college. So with Nick Chubb, actually older than Christian McCaffrey, obviously another asset that you're going to value a little bit higher if you're going to be a contending team. What's going to be very interesting is, where's Kareem Hunt next year? Kareem Hunt maybe isn't in Cleveland next year, and Nick Chubb's the starting running back in what should be a better offense with Deshaun Watson under center. Maybe Chubb's actually ascending, but obviously a little bit older, so we have to move him down. And then we're going to go Joe Mixon at 11. Very similar to Christian McCaffrey. I think what happened is they used their fake IDs to get drafted into the NFL. I don't know how. Joe Mixon, drafted at 20 years old, coming out of Oklahoma, still incredibly young as well, but all these RBs we're having to worry a little bit about an age cliff. I mean, like our next guy, Austin Eckler, older than these other 2017 running backs, even though he was drafted in 2017 as well, but he stayed all 4 years in college. So Eckler's a little closer to that age cliff than maybe what you're going to see with a Christian McCaffrey, Nick Chubb, or Joe Mixon. But let me know what you think down there in the comment section. Let me know if you think we're being a little too aggressive with these rookies. Hopefully we're not. You know, I am very excited. Hook 'em horns. And you can go down there, subscribe to the channel if you want to be annoyed by me all off season, getting excited about Bijan Robinson. And also, not only subscribe if you want to get annoyed, but if you play Dynasty Fantasy Football, make sure you go down there, drop a like. If you want to tell me I'm stupid, you can in the comment section. And in the comment section, you can find a link to Underdog Fantasy, where you can check out all these cool player props. And when you sign up with promo code FLOCK, they're going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. And you can get into drafts with us in the live stream. But thank you again. I really do appreciate you, and I really hope you have a great day.